can he run me over and can he outrun me? Right?
Yeah.
Usually if you see a guy that can run you over but he can't outrun you, you're all right. You see a guy that can outrun you but can't run you over, you're going to be all right. But then you see Jonathan Taylor, and he can both run you over and he can give you a little wiggle and take it to the house. That's why he's such a complete back. There is no game plan, let's just make sure we take care of the A gaps, the B gaps. He's going to find a gap, and he's going to eat. Oregon's going to have their hands full with that one.
Who do you like in this game?
I like Oregon. I don't love Oregon as a winner, but
You're in
West
like
Coast.
with them. You're dating.
I'm in like with
You're
Oregon.
like You're dating.
But with what Ach is saying, you watch Jonathan Taylor, and he's so patient behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But then when he decides to go, he goes, and he gets to the second level, and he's gone. But once again, Oregon they're not a finesse team. They're a physical football team.
I think Oregon's going to be really happy to be there. And this being the year and all these seniors having built up for this moment, the four seniors along the offensive line, Justin Herbert, who's a local kid, you just feel like they're going to give you a statement performance in their final college football game. So I like Oregon because, like what you said, they're really good in the trenches as well. And I think this is a sign of what's coming. This Oregon team is on the way up. Even though they're in the Rose Bowl already, the trajectory and the arrow with the way they're recruiting, this is going to be an every year thing, I think, in the years to come.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to show up in this game. I think it's just in Wisconsin's DNA to show up to bowl games. It doesn't matter what they're playing for.
Right.
You know, they want to play football, and I think that's why they've been so successful. But while I think Justin Herbert is a much better talent than a football player right now at the quarterback position, he still gives them an edge because of his ability, both with his legs and with his arm. They just need to cut him loose a little bit, I think, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, as for me, I think it's going to be a great matchup. I give the edge to Wisconsin because of what McShay said. They just like to play football. And when you're talking about bowl games, who's the more talented team, that doesn't always matter. Who actually wants to play on that day? Because this game is 3 weeks from now. And Coach, I talk about this. I mean, you're talking about 18 to 22-year-old kids. Who really, really wants to be there? I think Oregon for sure should want to be there. You know, Jim Leonard's going to have that defense wired up. Jonathan Taylor, more than likely his last game. I just give the edge to Wisconsin. It's going to be a hard-fought game.
I will tell you, coaches might dispute this across the country. You could argue there isn't a team that doesn't know their DNA more than the Wisconsin Badgers. Right. They are who they are, and they've been that way forever. Let's talk about the All-State Sugar Bowl. You've got Baylor and Georgia. This is a good matchup, but a couple of programs that came up short in their respective conference championship games. But I want to focus on Baylor for a minute and the job that Matt Rhule has been able to do with this program. He joins us now, calling us in here on Championship Drive. And, Coach, we appreciate your time. I know you're busy. First of all, congratulations on a remarkable season. As you woke up this morning and you had a chance to assess what you've been able to do, what's it mean to have Baylor in a New Year's Six game and the All-State Sugar Bowl?
Well, I think it's so huge for our players. It's so huge for our program. We would have loved to have won the game yesterday against a great Oklahoma team and really played as well as we possibly could play in a lot of areas. Came up one play short, but I think our guys. I met with the guys this morning before I headed out on the road recruiting, and I talked about the possibility of maybe getting the Sugar Bowl, and I think our guys understand what it means to play in the Sugar Bowl, what it means to play a great opponent like Georgia. They're so excited for that opportunity, and I know Baylor's going to show up and be ready to go.
Coach, we sat in your office weeks after you took the job in Waco, and I had flat out asked you why you did it. Why'd you take the job? And you had said, because I have an idea of where I think this program deserves to belong. How have you gotten it to this point so quickly?
Well, I think it really just comes down to people, and I'll start with our players. Our senior class, those guys that went out there, and they're going to go out there and represent us in the All-State Sugar Bowl. At one point, they had lost 16 of 18 games at the end of their freshman year, at the beginning of their sophomore year, and they didn't quit. They didn't panic. They just kept working. And now there's a bunch of future pros, NFL players on that team. There's a bunch of guys who've already graduated that are in graduate school, and they have the right to call themselves one of the top teams in the country right now. And I think it has to do with our coaches. Phil Snow, who's our defensive coordinator, who's a mentor of mine, I GA'd for way back in 2000, and he's a Broyles Award finalist. The way we've played defense this year in the Big 12, I just think it's people. And you know what? It wasn't going to be easy. We knew that. I knew that when I sat there and talked to you. But the people that have come together, that have sacrificed, that believed in what we could do. I'm really proud to take them to New Orleans and hopeful that this could be the beginning of something really special here.
And your 2 games against Oklahoma, you certainly gave it your best shot. You had the first one in Waco up 28-3, and then in the Big 12 championship yesterday. If you're kind of giving a scouting report of the Oklahoma Sooners ahead of the college football playoff, what would it be?
Well, I think offensively, it's really twofold. It starts with Jalen Hurts and also CeeDee Lamb. Yesterday, not a lot of extended drives against us, but a couple of really big plays by CeeDee. And I don't know if there's a finer receiver after the catch in the country than he is. I mean, we're probably one of the best tackling teams in the nation, and he gave us fits. And I have a lot of respect for the way he plays. And Jalen is a tremendous runner, can improvise, can make big throws down the field. And they are a run team. They're going to try to ground and pound. And it's not the Big 12 that everyone thinks it is. I mean, they are a running team that has the ability to be explosive. And I think Alex Grinch has done an amazing job on defense. They played really, really hard. They have a great rush. Nevin Gallimore, Perkins, some really good players up front. So they're playing defense, and offensively they really complement their defense with the way they're playing.
You made a comment there that struck me. It's not the Big 12 people think of. And we're sitting up here on the set thinking that the Big 12 is typically 56-51, who has the ball last wins. But since you've been in the league, what have you noticed about the style of play that has come out of that conference over the past couple of years?
Yeah, when I first got in the league, I was listening to the narrative, and I expected it to be that. And I got here and I found out that to me, it's one of the most pro-style leagues there is. I mean, there's RPO game, there's run game, there's tempo occasionally, but it's a lot of checking, and there's a lot of quarterbacks getting the people in the right place. And I think it's really even grown now. There's a lot of teams that believe in running the football. There's a lot of teams. Chuba Hubbard's one of the best running backs in the country at Oklahoma State. And when you think of Oklahoma State, you usually think of quarterbacks and receivers, but they're a running team. And so I think when people really dive in and look at the Big 12, it is a pro-style run-the-football league. Defense is improving at an alarming rate, a really good rate if you're in the league. And to do what Oklahoma's done, to play every team in the league every year, to play the Big 12 championship game and have to play a rematch, that's really hard to do. And I really hope that they play well in their playoff game.
Coach, Emmanuel Acho here. First and foremost, congrats on a phenomenal season. From 1-11 2 years ago to now an 11-win season, going to the Sugar Bowl, when you look over your tenure thus far, what are you most proud of?
Well, I'm proud of what our guys have done on and off the field. Last year we went to the bowl game, and we were second only to Clemson in terms of college graduates. And then this year, to have 14 college graduates on the team right now, more coming here in the next couple of weeks, to have 10 guys in graduate school, there was a narrative out there which was true. I mean, not true, but we were coming on the heels of a scandal, and so there was this idea of, hey, who are the guys that are there? And you know what? We have elite kids. We have elite young men, guys that do things right in the classroom, guys that do things right in the community, and so to finally see them grow up and we're first or second in the league in every defensive category. It's not new players. It's not a bunch of transfers. It's not a bunch of new recruits. It's the same guys that were there when we were 1-11. And all they've done is grind. All they've done is work hard. We never made excuses. We just hung together. And to me, that's what football is about. In the great state of Texas, there are so many great recruits. There are such great football. And I think our guys are really they're really standing up for their state and saying, hey, you can play defense, you can run the football, you can do it right on and off the field, and I'm proud to be out there with those guys.
Coach Craig McElroy, congrats on a great year. What a breakthrough. It's no secret that getting to the top of the mountain is extremely challenging, but staying at the top of the mountain is even more difficult in a lot of ways. Now that you guys have broken through and the transition is probably inevitable, you're going to shift from the hunter to the hunted in the Big 12. How do you anticipate your guys handling that shift and knowing that you're going to get everyone's best shot moving forward, knowing the breakthrough you guys had this season?
Yeah, that's really hard. And it's funny. It started to happen in the middle of the year. Guys would come off the sideline, Greg, and be like, hey, it's not the same defense we practice. And I was like, yeah, guys, they didn't roll the balls out this week. It wasn't like, oh, we're playing 1-11 Baylor. Let's just, get some scout team reps in. I mean, they game planned you. They're throwing stuff at you. But I think it's the culture we're trying to build. I mean, we're never going to be a flashy place. We're never going to be a place that's built on things other than we're a football place. And so we want our guys to really understand the game. And so when you get in these games, I mean, we went out there yesterday, and no excuses, but the guy that led our ship all year, Charlie Brewer, goes down. Gary Bohannon comes in, he goes down, and we've got a kid out there. It's 1st and 50 at the -5 with 5 minutes left, and we call the screen and go that he's never even thrown that ball. But he comes in and he watches tape on his own, and he stands behind the quarterbacks when they're getting reps, and he takes mental reps. He gets on the virtual reality, and he takes the reps that he doesn't get. And all of a sudden, he's out there with a Big 12 championship on the line. He takes us down the field. And so that's just the culture we want to have. And I think if we have that, as people come at us, as people try to attack us, as people, a lot of teams in this league, they're not going to just concede to us now. They're going to come roaring back. And I hope our love of football and our process will stand tall.
Hey, Coach, it's been fun to watch you guys this year. Congratulations on a remarkable season. Happy holidays to you. Best of luck the rest of the way. And save me a seat at the barbecue joint out there in Waco.
Jaspers is waiting on you, my friend.
All right, Coach. Matt Rhule, head